As I settled into my new life in college, I couldn't help but think about the journey that had brought me here. From the toxic relationship with my sister Sasha to the struggles of exposing her lies and manipulation, it had been a long and difficult road. But I was determined to make the most of my fresh start and leave the drama and stress of my family behind. I threw myself into my studies, determined to make the most of my Ivy League education. I joined clubs and organizations that aligned with my interests, and I started to build a new network of friends and contacts. I was excited to explore new opportunities and pursue my passions. Meanwhile, Sasha was making progress in her therapy and treatment. She started to take responsibility for her actions and apologize for the harm she had caused. We started to rebuild our relationship, but it was a slow and difficult process. There were still moments of tension and conflict, but we were working towards healing and rebuilding our relationship. As I navigated my college life, I realized that I wasn't alone in my struggles. Many people had experienced similar trauma and abuse, and there were resources and support available to help me heal. I started to seek out therapy and counseling, and I began to work through the emotional scars of my childhood. I learned to prioritize my own needs and set boundaries with others. I realized that I deserved to be treated with respect and kindness, and I started to surround myself with people who would support and uplift me. I started to see a future where I could thrive and be happy, free from the toxic influence of my sister. As the months went by, Sasha and I continued to work on our relationship. We would talk regularly, and she would share her struggles and progress with me. I was happy to see her making progress and working on her issues. We would have dinner together, and she would show me her apartment and her new life. I realized that people can change, and that families can heal even after deep wounds. Forgiveness is possible, even if it takes years to arrive. I was grateful for the opportunity to rebuild my relationship with Sasha, and I was determined to make the most of it. As I look back on my childhood and the struggles I faced, I was reminded of the importance of family and the power of forgiveness. I was grateful for the lessons I learned and the strength I gained from those experiences. I knew that I would always carry the scars of my past with me, but I was determined to use those experiences to build a better future for myself. In the end, I learned that family is not just about blood ties, but about the relationships we build and nurture over time. I was grateful for the opportunity to rebuild my relationship with Sasha, and I was excited to see what the future held for us. The journey to healing and rebuilding our relationship was not easy, but it was worth it. I learned to set boundaries, prioritize my own needs, and cultivate a sense of self-worth. I realized that I deserved to be treated with respect and kindness, and I was determined to surround myself with people who would support and uplift me. As I moved forward, I knew that I would always carry the memories of my childhood with me. However, I was determined to use those experiences to build a better life for myself. I was grateful for the opportunity to start anew and create a brighter future for myself. Years went by, and Sasha continued to make progress. She got a job, started taking classes, and began to build a life for herself. We would talk regularly, and I would share my struggles and successes with her. I was happy to see her thriving and making progress. One day, Sasha asked me if I would be willing to meet her therapist with her. She wanted to work on some issues that she was struggling with, and she thought it would be helpful to have me there for support. I agreed, and we scheduled a session. The session was intense, but it was also a breakthrough. Sasha was able to confront some of the deep-seated issues that had been holding her back, and she started to make progress on healing and moving forward. I was proud of her for taking the initiative to work on herself and our relationship. As we continued to work on our relationship, I realized that forgiveness was not just about Sasha, but also about myself. I had to forgive myself for not being able to change her, for not being able to protect myself from her abuse. I had to forgive myself for the pain and suffering I had endured. Forgiveness was a process, and it took time. But with each passing day, I felt more and more free. I felt like I was finally able to let go of the past and move forward. Sasha and I continued to work on our relationship, and we started to build a new dynamic. We would talk about our feelings and struggles, and we would support each other through the tough times. We were building a new relationship, one that was based on mutual respect.